Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to Colony's Builder Spotlight Season 2. Today I'm joined by John and Erin from ELI5 DAO. Hi guys.
Hello.
Awesome to have you on the show. Really excited to get started. But first of all, before we jump in, for anyone who's watching this for the first time and who's never heard of Builder Spotlight, I just want to give you a little bit more of an idea. So Colony is already running a season 1 of Builder Spotlight, where Lisa is building Picture Book DAO at the moment. I think we're in at episode 6 of season 1. So if you're interested about Picture Book DAO, go and watch season 1. But essentially, the whole purpose of this Builder Spotlight is really showcasing the journey of some of our Colony community members building a DAO from scratch. And that is why John and Erin are here today, because they are building ELI5 DAO from scratch. So every 3 weeks, I'll be meeting with you guys for sort of an interview like we'll have today. And then we'll post these interviews on YouTube. And we're going to be talking about, what the DAO is working on at the moment, decisions you're making, the progress you've made, the tools you're using, and the problems that you're dealing with. So we'll really be giving the audience, anyone watching this season, a front row seat on what it really takes to build a DAO, because we'll be covering aspects like the mission, the vision, strategy, product, your marketing, your community, governance, treasury, contributors compensation. There is so much that goes into building a DAO, and we are going to give it to you in a very raw, very unfiltered way to show you the good and the bad and the ugly, right? So that is sort of the purpose. And the goals of this series is really to inspire people to start something, to, just inspire them to start a DAO if they've got an idea, if they've got this entrepreneurial spirit and they are thinking about, starting a DAO. Well, this is sort of going to be your inspiration, because anyone can do it. The tools are out there. Anyone can start a DAO, and this show is really going to uncover all of those aspects. So I'm really excited to kick off season 2, even whilst season 1 is still running. So it's probably time now to bring John and Erin up to start talking about ELI5 DAO. Okay. Just like season 1 with Lisa, Erin and John, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about your backgrounds. So, John, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit. Don't go too far back. Just give us the relevant information about, your background and your professional history.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And just to everyone listening, I really appreciate it if you're watching this. And we're super excited to be the second kind of cohort for this program. But yeah, so I wanted to start a DAO myself this past year, and I kind of, was going through all the research phase and the legal kind of requirements. My DAO idea was a bit ambitious, so I took a pivot and I was like, hey, I have to learn a little bit about myself, a little bit about DAOs, a little bit about community building and all that kind of stuff. So I pivoted and started this little tool on the side. That's a list of DAOs, but we've kind of grown since then, really big, and it's been just really eye-opening. And part of our journey was learning about DAOs, and what we've gotten a lot of questions on is, hey, I want to start a DAO, almost like what you were talking about, Etienne. I want to start a DAO, but what's the best way to start that DAO? All DAOs are different, and there's a social DAO, there's just a group of friends investing. But what are the tools that I need to use, or what is out there that's available to me? And that's kind of where ELI5 DAO came up with. We were in the Talking DAOs channel, and it kind of was a realization like, hey, I really want to test out these tools. And that's kind of where this idea came from. So that's a little bit about the idea. My personal background. So I'm management and marketing undergrad. I went to graduate school for leadership and business ethics, and then I'm in my second master's degree right now for organizational leadership. And it's super interesting because I'm studying organizational leadership, but on this other side I have decentralization. So it's kind of like that paradox of interest. So yeah, just a little bit about me.
Excellent. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, I can imagine you seeing some synergies though between managerial leadership and also the sort of structures around leadership in DAOs, because just because you don't have a fixed hierarchy in a DAO doesn't mean there's no leadership, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I can imagine that must be quite interesting to see those comparisons. Okay, John. Erin, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure, yeah. So first, I just want to say we're super excited to be here and we're so grateful for this opportunity. So thank you to Etienne and Colony. But so a little about me, I've not always been in crypto. I don't know, John didn't mention, so he's been in crypto for like 7-8 years, like investing and interested and kind of all in. That's not the case for me. So I have my master's degree in occupational therapy, and I worked for a decade as an occupational therapist in pediatrics. Most recently, I worked as a director at a telehealth company, which was an interesting ride, but really valuable. And it was kind of a smaller startup. The company was about 5 years old, so still in that startup phase. So I learned a lot and really enjoyed my time. And then, as with most healthcare jobs, I got super burnt out. I was in a really unhealthy place, just personally and mental health wise. So John started the list of DAOs back in, I don't know, it was like January, February of 2022. And we were literally sitting on a ski lift and I was so burnt out. And we're like, what if we just went for this thing and like see what we can do with this project, So, and luckily we are grateful that we're in a place where we could do that. So I quit my job and jumped into crypto Web3 full-time in June. So I'm very new to the space, but I've been learning a ton. So at that point, we launched our umbrella project, which is called the Decentralist. And we are aiming eventually to be the one-stop shop for like decentralized resources, because there's so many amazing resources out there, but finding them all is a challenge. So we hope to be like a kind of a centralized, well, I hate using the word centralized and decentralized web, but like that place where you can go to find those tools or resources or products that you're looking for. So with that, we launched the Decentralized Diary, which is like our blog content space where we do a lot of our writing. We write about all kinds of things. I'm learning about Web3, so I do a lot of educational articles. We also do like neat things going on in the space, cool projects. There's a lot of amazing people doing really cool stuff, so we want to document that. So that's the focus of that. We have a couple other websites with that. We have the list of NFTs, which is like an artist-focused NFT site. And then we just launched the list of DAO tools this week, which was a natural progression from the list of DAOs because we had some tools on there, but now we're shifting them over. And with that comes ELI5 DAO, because all of the reviews that we complete for ELI5 are going to be published on that site. So it's kind of a natural, it just fit perfectly with this idea and where we were going anyway. And then I also run the Web3 Book Club, which is like a decentralized fun little side project. We're just finishing up our first book there. We'll be doing our next one in a couple weeks. So yeah, very busy. Did I forget anything, John? I'm not sure. But
yes, you did.
What?
Erin, she doesn't give herself enough credit, but she's also, I don't know what week you're in the She Codes program, but Erin's learning how to code essentially.
Wow.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm learning dev, so that's going on too. Yeah, I always forget to mention that because like I don't know a lot yet, but it's coming along. So yeah, just super busy.
And now you're starting it now. Erin, where are you finding the time? I mean, that's awesome. I'm really happy for you because I can imagine feeling stuck, in a job that you no longer have the energy and the passion for, and then falling into Web3 and crypto. And I mean, I can see how much you love it. And I'm really happy for you because this rabbit hole is so deep and so wide, and you can really just there's no way to be bored. And it's nice to be working full time in an industry that is always exciting and so diverse. So this is awesome. Excellent. Right. Okay, so that's a little bit about your background. I think let's start talking about ELI5 then straight away. So, John, you very briefly touched on how the idea has come about, but let's talk about the purpose and the mission. Why is this important?
Yeah, for us, I think there's, we get into these niches of like, I've been in Web3, and kind of this space for a while now, and we talk about these things that are like, sign on to a wallet, or what is a DAO, and how do I perform my governance, and it can get a little overwhelming for somebody new coming into the space. And I kind of had an advantage because I saw Erin coming into the space and new, and she didn't have an idea of what any of this was. So yeah, like I mentioned, the idea for ELI5 came out of talking DAOs and just doing things and almost like testing something. Well, I guess I'll go back a little bit. What ELI5 DAO stands for is explain it like I'm 5 years old.
Right.
And it's kind of in keeping with some people call it like the KISS model, which is keep it simple, stupid. Just like explaining things in an easy way to understand. And to me, at a deeper level, that's about vulnerability. It's about making mistakes and learning at the same time, and testing something out. So it's like, hey, I'm going to get familiar with this. I may not be the technical expert, but I can speak smartly on this thing the next time somebody asks about it. So to me, I kind of saw the correlation with all these DAO tools coming out, and there's a lot of them. And these DAOs or founders have to pick like, hey, what am I going to use for my communication tool? What am I going to use for my governance tool? So to me, ELI5 DAO was kind of that piece in there. It's the, hey, if you want to learn about Colony for 3 months in an epoch, join ELI5 DAO, and you can just test it. And we almost want to break the product like we're a 5-year-old to see what's the good, what's the bad, and what's the ugly, and just give an honest review. So that's kind of the end goal, is to test a DAO tool in a 3-month process, and then write a review and do almost like this, a video on how our experience was with that tool.
Okay, so tell me again, your mission is.
So
yeah, sorry.
Our formal purpose is to make DAO resources easy to understand, and then our formal mission statement is education through experimentation.
Education, experimentation. I love that. Nice and simple, and it explains exactly what it is about. Cool.
And to add what John was saying, we're kind of doing some of that testing legwork for people that are interested, so they don't have to spend the time doing that, because it would take, the exploration phase takes a long time, and then you find, oh, there's another tool. So hopefully the end product of ELI5 is people can kind of get the TLDR of the tool, a quick video overview, and then do that with several tools that we test, so they can make an informed decision instead of just kind of like going for it and finding out it's not right in the long run.
Right. Okay, I see. So, so let's talk about how the DAO is going to work. Okay, so you're going to be testing tools, writing reviews, and showcasing them on a public website where people can come and learn about those tools. So how is it going to work? What is the process? You mentioned epochs before, sort of at a very high level without going too deep. Can you sort of explain it like a 5-year-old?
Okay, so we plan to test tools over what we're calling epochs, and not everyone's familiar with that term. So it's basically just like a season. It'll be for now, it's a 3-month season. So the first 2 of those months will be the testing phase, and then the final month is the review phase, where we'll be doing all of those reviews, editing, all of those jobs that come along with that. In terms of how it will work and what we test, so we're hoping to continue to gain funding and through like grant processes and things, and we've been really lucky already to receive 2 of those. So we're able to fund our epochs. Each epoch's budget is $500, at least for now, and participants will be paid in the equivalent of a stable coin of that. And each, along with that, we'll have bounties. So there's lots of different jobs that you can participate to get paid. Or if you don't have the time to do a formal bounty and you just want to jump in and do some testing, you can do that too. So it's kind of open for people to jump in as deep or as shallow as they want to. And then in terms of entry into the DAO, we just have a quick contributor form. And really the main purpose of that is so we can assign the person roles in Charmverse, which is what we're using for like our working board of all of our information. And then that allows people to apply for the bounties. So
okay, nice. Okay, so that again sounds pretty straightforward. And then what is the ultimate output of the review? Is it a written form? Is it a video? What does it look like for anyone coming to the website?
So right now on Charmverse, we have 18 bounties, and 10 of those bounties are personal reviews. And I would equate a personal review almost to like a review on Amazon or a review on Yelp. So those are going to be written. Right now we have those paying out essentially $10 US or 10 XDAI for each written review. So some of the questions that maybe a participant, if somebody's interested in joining, what they may want to write about is, one of our questions is, okay, explain this tool like you're a 5-year-old, and we want to kind of give the, you know, just the TLDR on that. The next one will be like, what did you like about this tool and what can be improved? We want to keep them super simple, just so somebody can go through the information, kind of find out about the tool and see whether it's looking like the right fit. And then, so that's kind of one product, the written reviews like Amazon reviews. And then we're going to do video reviews like this as well, just to kind of see like what we liked, what we didn't like, and then kind of like how we saw ourselves working within that tool. So we're going to try to keep those short just for, you know, absorption of the information, but we have 2 of those. We call them kind of the video overview and then the video review. So 2 videos and then 10 reviews. And then we do have bounties for, let's say, people to just do quality control checks on them. We just don't want the reviews that are like, this was good, period. Like, we want to be like, hey, what's the why and what's the explanation behind, you know, the use of the tool. So we're keeping it simple like that. And then lastly, there's going to be just a summary. So if somebody just wants to read about the tool, they can just go to that summary and be like, okay, I get the idea of what Colony or Coordinate or, you know, like a lens protocol is about now, explained in an easy to understand manner.
Excellent. Fantastic. Okay. And you've decided on the first 2 or 3 tools already that you're going to be testing, right?
Yes. So season 1, we're testing Colony, which will be great. And then season 2, so season 1 started on November 1st, and pretty exciting. We've already got 13 of 18 bounties taken, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we are starting season 2 or Epoch 2 on December 1st, and that is to test Samudai, which is a brand new DAO platform coming to market, like I think this week or next week or something.
Okay, so you've got inside access, or
a little bit, yeah.
Okay, good stuff. And just as so as a disclaimer, I guess, you're going to be testing Colony as a platform. You are going to write it in a very neutral way. You're a third party. You're not associated with Colony. And it's going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So again, we're not paying you some money just to write good things. Okay. And again, I guess for any other tool going forward, it's not being used as a promotional campaign for other tools to sort of get on your show, is it? It is about really being neutral.
Yeah, essentially empowering people to learn about it. I kind of equate it to like a learn and earn kind of model. You know, you're coming in here to test a tool out like you're 5 years old. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And, you know, we want to empower you to learn about the tool. And we hope that the end goal of this is almost like you said in the beginning, that journey to starting a DAO. If we can make that a little bit more effective, you know, for somebody new coming into the space and be like, okay, I see the difference between starting my DAO on Colony. I see the difference with starting, you know, using Coordinate or something like that. Then hopefully it'll help. And us ourselves are going through that struggle right now. kind of like seeing which tools we want to use
Right.
in addition to. And I think Colony is great because we love the reputation piece, and that's very useful to us. It's almost like the proof of participation, and we want people that are going to be participating in these epochs, but also it naturally decentralizes us. I mean, we do have a lot of reputation in the beginning, but over time, the proof is going to come with more people contributing. And I think that alignment of, if you have more people contributing, that means more reviews, and hopefully, the law of numbers is going to give you that better review in terms of the tool.
Sure. Okay, that's super exciting. So let's talk about membership. What is the process, or let's look at the different membership tiers, because you're actually able to have different roles or different levels assigned to you. Is that correct? How does that work?
Yeah, so this is something that has evolved a lot in getting started here. So right now we have 3 levels of contributors. As the entry level is contributor level 1. And like I said before, all you have to do is fill out that form so you can get roles on Termverse and then participate in the epochs and the bounty process. After you've participated in one epoch, which means completing a bounty and showing your participation, you can self-nominate to become a level 2 contributor. And at that point, additional roles and bounties are available to you, including the editing of videos and written reviews. After a level 2 contributor has completed 3 total epochs, at that point, they can self-nominate and then also need to be co-nominated from somebody to be a level 3 contributor, which we're calling like our admin. It's kind of more of our core team. And then at that point, the additional role of the tool product manager is available to them. So that's kind of the person that's overseeing the whole epoch and making sure people are getting their stuff in on time. They're the go-to person for questions, and they're managing like our bounty board on Termverse and things. So for Epoch 1, John is doing that. And right now we have 3 founders, so 3 level 3s that are available, but soon enough, once we get through a couple of epochs, we want other people to participate in those roles as well. So that's kind of how it goes. It's really simple. In terms of something that we talked about in DAO Club that I feel like doesn't get enough attention is exiting the DAO. Because we are paying in stablecoin and reputation is not tied to that. Technically, so in Colony, we have a separate reputation coin called ELI5. Doesn't hold a value, it just holds reputation. At any point, people will be getting paid on an ongoing basis at the end of each epoch. So if at any point someone has to take a step back or, whatever the case is, it's really easy for them to take that step back and then re-enter or rejoin whenever they're ready. So it should be pretty easy and clean that way, which is nice.
Exactly. Okay. And it also means that if you, John and Aaron, if you were to step away from the DAO in, 5 years time or whenever, your reputation will decay and anyone else will actually take over your influence. And it is totally decentralized in that sense, whereby you don't have the founding member token supply where you will always be able to just outvote anyone else, because it's not based on tokens, it's based on your reputation, and you have to keep working to keep your reputation up, right? That's awesome. Okay, excellent. Well, now that we're on the topic, let's talk about actually who's on the team. You said there's 3 founders. Barry's not here today.
Right.
Who else is signed up to this first epoch? Are these just contributors that have applied to do the reviews?
Yeah, so we've been just reaching out. For us, kind of going back to the level 1, level 2, level 3, that came from the Bankless DAO idea of their levels. So we followed that kind of format. So we've reached out to a couple of friends from Bankless DAO. We think like Bankless Consulting and I think their Education Guild are a really good fit for this, because it's essentially, you could go through all of these epochs and get all of that skill and knowledge and become a really good consultant. I think from my perspective, I know what Colony does, I know what Coordinate does, and like maybe focus founders to that certain way. But we have some people from there. We've had some people from the club join the DAO Club. We had some people from, there's also a similar project called the Test Lab that have come over and want to test some tools as well. So we had some people from there come, and DAOs are this kind of amoeba-like structure where you can go to DAO and help out and learn out. So for us, we'll take everybody and anyone who's interested. This is about inclusion, and the big test is, like you said, Etienne, is hopefully the more people we get, it naturally decentralizes us, and our reputation over the long period of time starts to neutralize, and we're just a member then at that point. So
sure, exactly, yeah. And I love the fact that someone might be a super user of a tool which you don't even know of, and they can just come in and provide an amazing review on a tool that they've been working on for a long time. And I can see how, as you said, John, someone could really do this part-time and really work themselves up to become a level 3 contributor, and then become sort of like a DAO tool consultant in a way. Not that I'm saying that will become a thing, but I think there is a need for people who are really good at understanding DAO tools. The landscape is expanding at a very, very fast pace, and it's confusing. DAO founders will be like, what do I need for my DAO? And I think if perhaps these level 3 contributors who have really a good experience across multiple tools have like an NFT badge to really showcase their expertise, then they could become quite attractive to other DAOs, right?
And I think the ELI5 at the core of that is it's a very good skill to have, because that means bringing on new people and being able to explain these tools in an easy to understand manner. Some of my early videos that I loved were just like explaining the blockchain in simple terms like love. If I say I love Aaron, just between ourselves, like just Aaron and I know, but if I say it in this kind of like decentralized thing where now 3 people know it, you can validate that. Okay, ATN can validate that John said he loved Aaron on this day, and you have that thing. So it's just good stuff, and explaining the terms and the tools in a simple manner like that just helps people understand and get into the space easier.
And removing that barrier of entry of jargon is just going to help with adoption and get more people involved. And I think that's a big goal too, is of like just empowering people to know, like, you can do this. It looks scary from the outside, but it's not that bad. So I think that's, especially like as a woman and someone that doesn't have a business background, like going through this process of just creating the DAO, I've learned so much. So just, and it's applicable to almost any project. And it's, there's not a lot of things out there that can say that, so it's just exciting. And we really hope that, we have people of all walks of life and all experience levels able to join in on what we're trying to do.
Right. Okay. Awesome. That is exciting. So let's talk about the funding, because I think you touched upon it very early. Again, Colony is sponsoring this series, so we're giving you a $500 micro grant every month just to keep doing what you're doing for the duration of this Builder Spotlight show. But obviously, $500 a month is not a lot. So are you getting other funding? How are you sort of sustaining and making sure that there is enough to pay people in stablecoin?
Just like you said, we have the funding from Colony, and we set up our epochs, at least initially, to stretch those funds. So that's the goal there. We've also received a grant from the folks over at Sammy Dai. They funded, obviously, for us to test them in a neutral way. So, and we always lead with that. If people want to fund, we let them know, like, that's great.
Yeah.
All of our reviews are completely neutral. Like, there's no, we're not just going to write nice things because they funded an EPOC. But I think, the grant avenue is very appealing. We're not, at least at this point, we're not like technically like for profit. We're not looking to make a lot of money off of this. I think there could be some monetization options in the future once we kind of establish ourselves a little bit and hopefully become kind of a go-to for those reviews. But yeah, we're kind of just on the lookout for additional grant programs. There's so much out there. Again, it's just hard to find them. And like you said, the landscape is so vast. I think there's a lot of people that find what we're doing appealing. So that's that's kind of where we're headed, at least for the moment. We are looking at, possibly in the future, allowing other sites to publish our reviews on their site, and that could be an avenue for monetization, and that kind of thing. So we're still working through some of that because we're so early on right now, but that's just kind of what we're thinking for the moment.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. You should start a list of grants or a list of funds as well on the side, because you just said it's really difficult to find them. So let's talk about some of the tooling. You said you are using Colony for governance. I'm actually going to share my screen in a second because I actually clicked through it earlier today, and it's just fascinating to see how you've been using it. But what other tools are you actually using as part of your DAO tool stack?
Yeah, so we started, like I said, we really like the reputation piece. I was a fan of Colony, going back a little while ago because of that. But I did a couple test DAOs probably 8 months ago just on myself. But then we had some recommendations for Charmverse. So we're actually technically testing 2 tools out at the same time. So we're getting the kind of Charmverse is kind of like what Aaron said, our one-stop spot for all the information on the DAO. So I would recommend, if anybody's interested in it, just going through there. We have our light paper on there. We have our participation guide and just all the links that you need, and then the new contributor form. So what we liked about Charmverse was their bounty board can be integrated on there. So it's like you go to this one site, you get all the information, and then you can see the bounties. Outside of that, we're using Telegram for just asynchronous communication. We're on Twitter, and then let's see. We have a Snapshot as well. So we like the idea of, obviously we want the DAO to decide the tools. We have reputation just as the founders to begin with, but as I said, as we kind of neutralize that, we want DAO members to decide the tools that they would like to test based on their interests. So we just have an integration to Snapshot, and it goes off of the Colony reputation, which is kind of cool.
Nice. Okay, excellent. So nice and simple, not too many tools. Is Charmverse open to anyone, or do you have to actually join and be accepted as a contributor to join?
So it is open to everyone. Let me pop it up here on the screen. It's pretty neat. We have our homepage with like all of our onboarding information, exactly what you need to do. All of our documents live here, which isn't a ton, just like our participation guide and late paper. Our contributor submission form is actually a Google form, but we were able to embed it directly on the site, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Then we have our bounty board here. So we put them on here, but you also can, where they're gated per type of member, and then you apply for them all right here. It's all like a one-stop shop.
So you can, so if you didn't have the level 2 role, then you can't apply for that because they're not open to you yet. So it actually handles that in the platform itself, which is nice. Okay.
So we use that contributor form. It doesn't take personal information. You can use a pseudonym or like a PFP or anything like that, but you just got to make sure that you, because you can also use your username or profile, or wallet address, excuse me. So we just have to make sure that we're attaching the bounty to the right user and a wallet address. So that's why we have that contributor form.
I've been liking it so far. It has its quirks. It needs a messenger application within it because you can't like message somebody. And one of the challenges we run into is somebody will apply and complete the contributor submission form, but that doesn't link to anyone in our Charmverse. So we're like, well, who is this? Your username can just be your wallet address, or you can also link up your Discord so it's an actual username. And we've had a few snafus there, but we've been able to get them figured out. But that is one thing that that has come up, that has presented a challenge.
Okay, excellent, nice. Okay, well, I think we just did a little product review there of Charmverse. Okay, so this is not a product review of Colony. This is just showing our viewers. By the way, this is obviously open and on-chain. Anyone can go to your Colony We'll put the link in the description of the show notes for anyone to go to. Let's talk about the teams quickly. Maybe, John, you can tell us a little bit more about this. So you've structured your DAO in a way whereby you are going to be grouping certain functions or skills together. And I can see here you have writers, videos, admin, DAO reserve, and DAO tool fees. Do you want to say anything about this? I mean, it's sort of common sense, but was there maybe a reason why you wanted to split out writers and video producers?
Yeah, so this was kind of in testing the tool. I wanted to actually start it off with the epochs and just do like an epoch 1, but I kind of was thinking through it and it wasn't making sense for that. So, you know, we're going to have writers in each epoch. So let's say that Erin writes a review for Colony, you know, in January. She would be given 10 XDAI as the writer, and she would also be given 10 ELI5 tokens for her reputation when she does that. So just moving forward, you know, the writers would be kind of in one spot, the videos would be one, and then the admin kind of functions. The DAO reserve is, we're just setting 10% of each $500, so $50 every month kind of as a reserve, just for kind of the miscellaneous things. You know, we're probably thinking of some like legal structuring we're going to have. There's probably like a website we're going to have to design and all that kind of stuff. So it'd be kind of simple, but just $50 a month for that. And then the tool fees, that's just for, let's say, you know, Colony is not charging us, but let's say we go to a tool that has a fee, you know, we would have some funds to pay that if we needed, like, to get members access and stuff.
Right.
And to share and add on more, I think creating the teams within Colony goes back to wanting to decentralize as quickly as we can, because like so as the core founding members, the three of us are creating, you know, we're making all the decisions right now. What are the reviews going to look like? What's the structure for that? How is this going to go? But by having these teams, eventually, like if the writers want to change the review template, they should have the power to do that without needing permission from the whole DAO, because they're the ones that are using that. You know, that's kind of the goal there too, is to kind of give each team some more authority and to govern their own pieces, so it makes sense to them and they feel empowered to make changes if they need to.
Fantastic. Okay. And I guess also it just makes sense to separate out writers and video producers, because it will indicate who is really good at writing and who's very good at making videos. And those people will have different levels of reputation within those domains. I want to quickly click on contributors here. So at the moment, as you can see, the three founding members, you've got all of the permissions at the moment still to force through a motion if you want to. You've got a three-way split on all of the reputation, and whenever someone new gets paid, they will automatically become a contributor of the DAO. So at the moment, it's only the three founding members because no one else has actually been paid. But as we go forward, I would love to look at this dashboard every episode to see who's been paid and what domain, and to really understand how that's going to sort of play out. Very interestingly, I want to jump into a new feature that's only decisions. I was so surprised to see this, and I love the way you've used this as a way to basically ratify agreements on chain, which probably just would have been documented in Notion or Choppers. And actually, so I really like this one here. Here we go.
Number one or number two?
So for a historical reference, I propose we document the founders and the admins on the blockchain, and that's what you've done. And this will live on the blockchain forever. And the motion ended up passing, and obviously that's now ratified. And again, things like the format of your documentation, you're sort of decentralizing this from the start. You're not saying we're the founders, this is how it's going to work. You're even proposing it and saying, hey, this is how I propose it. Does anyone object? And no one objects, and it ended up passing. And that's probably the governance process for everything that you're going to be doing. So it is actually allowing anyone with reputation to have a say in your DAO from the moment they have reputation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something we've noticed, we like to think we know a lot of DAOs, and just through our, not through ELI5, but through our other project. And something we've noticed with, there's been a lot of, it's the crypto winter or whatever we're calling this, but a lot of DAOs have fallen off, and there's trends there of like, well, why are these DAOs not working? Where's the fail point in these DAOs? And a lot of them are not decentralized, or they're not using a mechanism to, make decisions. So we've had that in the back of our mind since we started this thing. And we basically because we didn't have our colony set up right away. Like, we were doing all these other things, getting our late paper together, but we knew that we wanted to go back and kind of backtrack and get all that stuff on chain, just so that, like, if someone new comes on, they can be like, oh, that's when that decision was made. And, I'm going to propose to change it. But, like, when did this happen? Because that transparency piece is missing a lot of the times. And it's hard to know, like, unless you're able to attend all the meetings, or, have people that are sharing a lot of information, it's not obvious. So that's something we wanted to make sure that we were abiding by.
Yeah. And you it's so true. And the fact that anyone who joins ELI5 DAO does some work, contributes, gets paid, gets reputation, the moment they have reputation, they can propose and put forward a motion. And they might say, well, actually, do you know what, John and Aaron, you guys are doing this wrong. We need to do it this way. And actually, from that very moment, they've got a voice and influence in the decisions of the DAO. And you guys might actually come to realize that, yeah, you're right, we have been doing this wrong. This is a better way of doing it. And sort of decentralizing that influence and power, which is amazing. So really, really good, and congratulations on setting it up and going about it in what looks to be the right way. Awesome. Okay, so that sort of colony. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So let's start talking about the sort of longer term vision. I know we're going to be doing this over shorter epochs. Like, if this was to become wildly successful, is there a grand vision for ELI5 DAO? Do you have an idea what that would look like? You might not. Is there anything that comes to mind?
So kind of a long-term vision I see is, one, you're creating almost like that consulting piece, like that knowledge base, but I actually see ELI5 being a long-term integration to accelerator programs, almost like the Colony Club or something like that, where you bring in these groups of founders who are, hey, we're going to do this accelerator program for 8 weeks, but maybe they want a little bit more to that, and to see the tools, because, okay, we're going to recommend these tools, but this is kind of like a neutral place where we're testing out these tools, and you can keep doing it and jump in and jump out at any time you want. So to me, an integration to like an accelerator program like this for DAOs is key, because it's almost like Orange, or like, some of these accelerator programs, they'll run for the 8 weeks and then you just stop and kind of the relationships kind of fall off. But for me, it's, if you want to jump back in and test DAO tools, or kind of get like a revisit into what's new out there, I see people jumping back into ELI5 DAO, and this becoming that kind of the roots for people to come back. So let's say I participated in a cohort 1, I'm gonna, I had these people, but I want to still be in the space a little bit and learn, be that 5-year-old testing and doing stuff. And yeah, I think that's where ELI5 for me, the long-term vision is.
Cool. Erin?
Yeah, I like that idea. We haven't talked a lot about the long-term vision because we're so in the weeds of like getting off the ground. But I always like to say, like, we don't know where this thing is going to go. It's kind of like this whole like our project and everything. It's just, I want us to, like, in an ideal world, I want us to stay open to opportunities. I want us to keep our eyes open to, trends and things going on in the space. I hope that eventually, like, tools will be coming to us, because the quality of our reviews is so high that people want that. It's kind of, maybe it's the benchmark of like, oh, ELI5 has tested that tool.
Yeah.
That, it's kind of like a blue chip or something that like,
Approval.
it's ELI5 tested, and
Yeah.
I would love for it to become something like that where people just, they want to get involved, they want to get their tools tested.
Yeah.
And the goal of this is not to tear products down. It's, we're going to frame our questions in a constructive way. And it's not going to be like, well, what didn't you like about, or what was bad about this tool? It's going to be like, how could this be improved? And hopefully I know Colony does this, but it's the other companies or, tool makers or DAOs or whoever it is that owns the tool will want, will want that feedback so they can make their user experience better. Because I think there's a lot of amazing projects out there with really terrible user experience. Or you have to know, you have to have a level of knowledge to be able to use the tool. So, hopefully they'll take that feedback, in a positive way and as a way to improve, just as we would taking feedback from our DAO members to improve our DAO. So that's kind of the goal, and maybe the pipe dream on my side, but we'll see what happens.
Nice. No, I think it's so true, because I think what you guys are going to make very transparent is certain issues that many users have in using the tool. So it's not just someone who's stuck on one problem. If you have 5 or 10 people who review a tool and they all run into the same issue, then you've got a problem with your tool at that point. And I think product managers and product departments would be able to read through these reviews and go, right, okay, there's a problem here because everyone gets stuck at that problem. Let's fix it. And I think it's going to be a very, very useful way for tools to get that feedback. And as you said, I think you should have like an ELI5 stamp of approval.
Right, a POAP, NFT, I don't know, figure out something. This has been tested by ELI5.
Sure. Okay. If anyone is watching this and they're like, right, I want to get involved. Did you say there's 5 bounties left, or is Epoch 1 full? No?
Yeah, so we still have 5 bounties left as of today. It's the November 4th. But if you miss out on the first Epoch, that's okay. Epoch 2 is starting December 1. So it's not that long away. Get all your stuff in so you're ready to go and you can claim some bounties right away. And then in terms of timelines moving forward beyond that, we're not sure what it's going to look like. From a ability, time management perspective, since the core team is small right now, I don't know that we can do another overlapping Epoch. Would do 3 at a time. That would be kind of nuts, but ultimately we just have to kind of see how it goes. But there will be overlap and more opportunities coming shortly, so you can get involved. If you're interested in Colony and doing some testing, I mean, the great thing about it is it's kind of a risk-free way to do it. So what Etienne showed is our actual DAO governance platform. We have a test Colony as well that you can totally play around in and not have any, and there's no money or real reputation at stake. So if you're still interested in testing that and there are no bounties, you can still join in. You just wouldn't be completing any bounties at the end. So.
Sure. Okay. So there's a few left for this Epoch, but if you miss out, you said December 1st is the next one. Yeah. And again, that's going to be opened up with a clean slate for anyone who wants to get involved. Okay, that is fantastic. Okay, so what is ELI5 going to be doing over the next 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks until we speak again?
Yeah. So I'm the tool project manager for Epoch 1. So essentially our first week challenges, we're going to have challenges for, kind of the weeks to just give people some initiative to kind of play around with the tool. So our first week challenges is to become a watcher in a colony, make a motion or an action to pay somebody in our test colony that Aaron's talking about, and then just to kind of learn about, because we had that contributor and watcher kind of delineation. A watcher is a person who doesn't have reputation yet. So we want to let people play around to see what's available and what's not available within those 2 roles. And then once you're ready to get reputation in our test colony, we'll just give you, 500 whatever fake tokens or whatever. And then you'll kind of see the difference. Okay, I know what a watcher is. I know what a contributor is. And I can make a motion, or I can taken action to make a motion to pay somebody else. And that's kind of the first step, just super simple. And I am planning on making some videos on just kind of how to describe that in an easy way.
Okay, fantastic.
Then we'll be pushing. We want to do some more marketing. Like we just launched Tuesday, 3 days ago. So getting the word out about what, that this is happening. We want people to join. And then we have our community calls on Tuesdays at 1 Mountain Time. So we'll be holding those calls as well. And now they're totally open to anyone that wants to join in. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for the next 2 weeks.
For the next 2 weeks. Okay, fine. And then final question, where can people find you? I am going to put the links in the show notes, but just for sort of telling everyone on what platforms you're available, where can they get involved?
Sure. Yeah. So you can find us on Twitter at ELI5 DAO. From there, we have a link to our link tree, where you can get into Charmverse, Telegram, Colony, and what's the third one on there?
It just has a link to our snapshot. You can join the snapshot if you're interested.
Yeah, so if you can get to our Twitter page, that's a great place to start. And then I would head over to Charmverse, where we have all of our onboarding information and everything. So,
okay, fantastic. Okay, well, guys, I think that is it from my side. It is such a pleasure to speak to you guys about ELI5. It's really, really exciting. I can't wait to see how this unfolds. Speaking to you the next time. Is there anything else that you wanted to ask or discuss before we close off? John?
For me, it's this is the big test. I think Vitalik talks about, like, you have that kind of dictatorship piece in the beginning, and then you naturally decentralize. So this is the big test for us. Like, we've set this process up, and we want people to join to naturally decentralize us, and that's going to be the big test. Join us and get reputation and take us out. We almost want you to take out the founders. And my last piece, I know I'm going here for a little bit, but there's this psychology research about the marshmallow review, where you have to build a tower with this marshmallow, and there's these two groups, a 5-year-old group and like a kind of kindergarten group, and these architects and lawyers. And when they try to build this tower with the marshmallow, the idea is to build the biggest tower. And naturally, who always beats out the architects and the lawyers is this kindergarten group, because they're playing around with the tool, and they're not afraid to make mistakes. And that's what we want. We want people to come in and learn about a tool, not be afraid, if you don't have the technical expertise or anything like that, to play with the tools and learn about it, so we can help the whole Web3 community kind of grow. So I'm going to stop there.
Sure. Okay. I'm going to give you a chance, Aaron, but I just want to really sort of highlight what you just said, John. And I think that's really important. Anyone who's new to Web3, who's just come into this space, anyone who's watching this video for the first time, you might not even have a MetaMask wallet yet. Even they can reach out to you guys and get involved. And I think that is amazing. I think that's awesome that anyone can just come and automatically, based on whatever skills they've got, come and contribute to this DAO. And I think that's awesome. So well done to you guys. But yeah, Erin, anything else final from you?
No, yeah, we're just really excited. And, come on, come all. We want to build a cool community here that just wants to explore and, help the DAO ecosystem. So let's do this.
Okay, awesome. Excellent. Okay, guys, as I said, I'll put all of the links in the show notes. So if you are watching this, please go and get in touch with ELI5 DAO. John and Aaron, it's been a pleasure to speak to you. I'm really excited to see where this is heading, and to speak to you again in a few weeks' time. But for today, that is it. Thank you very much, and goodbye to both of you. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.